If you grow up in Prince George's County, Maryland, there are three things you're told not to mess with: train tracks at night, abandoned houses with boarded windows, and the Governor Bridge after dark. Everyone knows the story, even if they pretend not to believe it. A half-man, half-goat creature roaming the woods near Bowie. Some say it was a government experiment gone wrong. Others say it was a railroad worker who lost his mind after an accident. Most people just call it the same thing: the Goatman. The details don't really matter. What matters is that people disappear near that bridge. Not often. Not enough to make the news. Just enough that the locals hear their voices when it comes up. I didn't grow up believing in monsters. I believed in explanations. Bad decisions, alcohol, wild animals, coincidences. I was the kind of person who thought fear existed to be challenged, documented, and dismantled. And that's why I went to the Governor Bridge. It was late October when I parked my car near the trailhead. The air was sharp, autumn bite that settles in your lungs and makes everything feel more real. The woods were dark in that way that felt intentional, like the trees were leaning in to watch you. I was there to record sounds. I love local legends and folklore. Though I'm a skeptic, I can't get enough of them. So I had my sound recorder, and I went up to the bridge. I brought a flashlight and a phone, and I told two people there where I was going. I did what I thought was right. That didn't help. The path to the bridge was quiet, very quiet. No insects, no frogs by the creek, just the sounds of my boots crunching the leaves and my own breath that was loud in my ears. It was like the forest stopped to listen. The Governor Bridge came into view slowly, its rusted iron frame rising out of the darkness like a ribcage. It looked thinner at night, more fragile. The metal glistened with moisture, and when the wind pushed through it, the bridge let out a low moan and vibrated through my chest. I stepped onto it. The bridge complained under my weight, every step answered by a creak of metallic sigh. I stopped in the center and turned off my flashlight. I wanted to absorb the darkness, and maybe the darkness would absorb me. That was my first mistake. Without the light, the darkness felt thicker, even layered. The creek below moved sluggishly, reflecting fragments of the moonlight like broken glass. The woods on either side were nothing but black shapes stacked on black shapes. I clicked on my recorder. "Governor Bridge," I said quietly. "Just past midnight. No movement. No sound." And then something splashed below me. I froze. It wasn't loud. Just a subtle disturbance in the water, like something had stepped in and then stopped moving. I wouldn't have heard it if it wasn't for the fact that nature all around me had stopped. I waited, counting my breaths, and then I heard it. A sound. I had no word for it at the time. Later I described it as breathing, but that's not quite right. It was deeper, thicker, like air being dragged through something that wasn't built for lungs. I turned my flashlight back on and aimed it towards the far end of the bridge. And that's when I smelled it. Wet fur. Earth. It smelled like rotting leaves smashed into something warm and alive. It rolled across the bridge in waves so strong it made my eyes water. I whispered, "Hello?" I don't know why. Reflex, maybe. Or maybe my scientific denial. The light caught movement at the tree line. At first I thought it was a deer. The height was wrong, but my brain tried to force the shape into something familiar. And then it stepped forward, and it stood upright. Its legs were bent backwards at the knee, thick, with coarse, patchy hair. Hooves pressed into the dirt with a soft, wet sound. Its torso was human-shaped, but stretched wrong, ribs visible through its skin that looked too tight. In its head. God, its head. Its head was goat-like, but distorted. The snout was too long, the jaws hanging slightly open, saliva dripping in the slow strings. Its eyes reflected the flashlight like yellow marbles, unblinking and focused entirely upon me. Between its hands was something dark and heavy. It was an axe. Not old and rusty like the legend says. This one was worn but maintained, the blade nicked and stained. Whatever had been used on recently, it wasn't wood. The Goatman didn't rush. It didn't take a single step closer. And then finally it did take a step. And then another. Each movement was deliberate, like it knew I had nowhere to go. The bridge groaned under its weight, louder this time, as if warning me and echoing the Goatman. I backed up, heart pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. I kept the flashlight trained on it, afraid if I looked away even for a second it would be on me in a flash. It tilted its head, and then it spoke. Not in words. It made a sound between a bleat and a laugh, wet and broken, like something trying to remember how to use a throat that once worked. That's when I ran. Terrified, I ran. The bridge screamed beneath my feet as I sprinted, metal rattling, echoing into the wood. I didn't look back. I didn't slow down until my boots hit dirt and I nearly fell onto the trail. Behind me, I heard hooves strike iron. Once, twice. The sound followed me off the bridge. Branches snapped, leaves tore. Whatever it was, it moved fast when it wanted to. I could hear it breathing right behind me, hot and ragged, close enough that I swore I felt it on my neck. And then I heard its neigh again, its gurgle laugh, like blood was caught in its throat. I burst into a small clearing and tripped, hitting the ground hard. The flashlight flew from my hands and rolled, casting a wide shadow across the trees. I scrambled backwards, as if something heavy landed on my head that had been. The axe buried itself into the dirt inches from my face. I looked up. The Goatman stood over me, towering, chest rising and falling. In the dim of the flashlight beam, I could see scars crossing his body, old wounds healed badly. The fang had been here a long time. It raised its axe, and then a single cut through the wood. A train horn. Distant, muffled, but close. The Goatman froze. Its eyes twitched. Its head snapped towards the sound, eyes narrowing. For a moment it almost looked afraid. Then it backed away. Slowly. Step by step, it retreated into the darkness, never turning its back on me. The smell lingered long after it disappeared, hanging in the air like a warning. I didn't wait. I ran until my lungs burned and my legs went numb. I didn't stop until I reached my car, slamming the door shut and locking it with shaking hands. I sat there for a long time, engine off, listening. Nothing followed me. When I finally drove away, my headlights caught something carved into a tree near the trailhead. 3 deep gouges, and beneath them words scratched unevenly into the bark. Stay off the bridge. I never published the audio from that night. The recorder caught the breathing, the hooves, the sound it made when it laughed. And at the very end, right before the train horn, you can hear a voice, low, close enough to the mic that isn't mine. It says, "You come back." I haven't returned to the Governor Bridge. But sometimes late at night, when I hear the smell, when the air smells like wet leaves and rustled metal, I dream of hooves on iron. And in those dreams, the bridge isn't empty anymore.